Good evening, this is www.mattbell.org. I'm calling from Lawson's Clump, which is a lay-by off a road at Wareham Forest. There's two roads that go through the New Forest. Sorry, Wareham Forest, not the New Forest. This is part of the Forestry Commission. I raise this subject because I've had an interesting exchange of opinions from vegan activists, and I don't have necessarily a problem with the vegan lobby, but when they say their view prevails and no one else's prevails is interesting. And they said food production has to change and be a plant-based diet, and that wildlife conservation has to stop in the way that it's being done. So this would affect the Forestry Commission, I imagine, the Woodland Trust, the Wildlife Trust, the National Trust, and the RSPB, many of whom use rare breeds as part of their management programs. So if you get rid of livestock, what happens then? I'm going to put a link to an article that talks about how rare breeds are used by wildlife conservation, which is very important because they're saying that wildlife conservation should not matter, and I'm telling you it is very important. I mean, round here this doesn't involve livestock, but it's a managed environment, so it's a biomass pyramid. People will be here to control the numbers of deer, for example, and control the numbers of grey squirrels, so there's not much damage to the forest, and that the recreational use is maintained, paths are maintained, heather and bracken is maintained within it. That the trees are planted at regular intervals. As you can see, it's all very well managed. You look across there. This is all this takes a lot of stewardship, and to say that doesn't matter is incredibly naive and arrogant. And this link and the exchange of opinions is on Dorset Somerset Community Watch, which is the supporting page to my website, so you can have a look at it and see what you think. I'll be interested in your reactions. I'm only trying to draw attention to this. I have other issues I'm talking about that are important. There is an issue I've raised on plastic pollution, water bottles. Coca-Cola use something like 13 billion water bottles, single-use water bottles per year. I might have got that wrong, just don't quote me on that. The Greenpeace are saying that 90% of seabirds ingest plastic, and there's a sea of plastic in the ocean, as we know about, and they were in Piccadilly Circus the other day. It's on the article posted below, which shows the links and what's happening to these bottles and how they're causing a lot of problems. Previously in the past, in the 70s, there were bottles, we had glass bottles, and I say in the article maybe there's a basis of bringing back glass bottles and keeping the plastic ones for use in sort of nightclubs and areas like that where, you know, potentially there's antisocial behaviour and you have to facilitate for that. But where they can be used and recycled, they're easy to recycle and maybe have to wash it out. The idea is it's made cheaper because Coca-Cola and Fanta and others didn't want to absorb the costs of recollecting bottles with the deposit and tracking them back to their premises for reuse. They didn't want to do that, so that was one of the reasons they did it. It was the cheaper option, but the planet is worth thinking about, of course, as well. We have other issues to think about. Road use. Poole Borough Council have had 2.9 billion budget from an infrastructural capital spend which was given, and they were singled out, which is good. The thing is, they used it in 8 months, so they started out in August last year and they had to use it up by March. So if you live in the Poole area and you're finding that there's loads of roadworks, this is why, because they're using this budget to have them done and dusted as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, some small businesses on these routes who've had to close for several weeks have lost money, and I'm not in a position to say names. As I said in the article, I'm not naming any names, but you know, people have the right to have their privacy maintained if they speak to people doing stuff like I'm doing, and that's a fact. And the councillors have already responded to this article because it's online and you can see them for themselves, what they've said. particularly Councillor Mark Howe, and his colleague who is mentioned on there. I can't remember his name, but he's up there as well. So you can listen to their responses, not listen, you can read their responses. If you have any interest in saying anything more, then please have a look and add your comments. Please contact me if you want. And also, if anyone wishes to donate to me, press the red button on this video, and to donate by PayPal to what I'm trying to do, I'd greatly appreciate it. It takes time and effort, and it takes a lot of resources. I don't claim to be perfect in that regard. Of course I'm going to make mistakes, and I don't claim to have watertight arguments, but no journalist can claim that. But you know, if somebody does say it's fake news, then you probably triggered them. So you must be onto something. Anyway, I will sign off now, but please, if you can take the time to read what I posted below, I'd be great, please. I am going to be posting something shortly about the capital of Jerusalem, because there's some people I know who are in Jerusalem right now, Israel, with the announcement by President Trump. So I will be putting an alternative view. It may not be popular, but there are two views, two sides to the story, let's say. So I will be posting about that shortly as well. So I'll single out, please think of the people who run this conservation. This is Wareham Forest. Please come out and support this place and enjoy the recreational use that's been provided by the staff of the Forestry Commission. And please think of them. They provide this, and they're not disposable. They're government funded, and they deserve support. Thanks very much for reading this article, and I hope to hear from listening to this video. I hope that you'll support me in my work. Thank you. Goodbye.